Drake just got exposed in the most devastating legal move yet, and the internet is losing its mind right now. The Toronto superstar is refusing to accept defeat and just filed a massive 60-page appeal that's about to change everything we know about rap beef forever. You're seeing this right. Within the last 48 hours, Drake's legal team dropped documents claiming Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us" didn't just hurt his feelings, it destroyed his entire reputation with accusations so serious they could land someone in jail. And what he's arguing? That the court created a dangerous rule that basically gives rappers a free pass to say anything. This isn't just Drake being petty anymore. This is about to set a precedent that'll impact every diss track, every battle, every artist in hip-hop history. What I'm about to show you is gonna blow your mind. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and smash the like. You won't want to miss what comes next. So here's what just happened that's got the entire industry shook right now. On January 22, 2026, literally 2 days ago, Drake's legal team filed a 60-page appellate brief with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in Manhattan. This comes exactly 3 months after Judge Jeanette A. Vargas threw out his entire defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group back in October 2025. The judge basically said Kendrick's lyrics calling Drake a certified pedophile in "Not Like Us" were just non-actionable opinion, essentially protected speech. But Drake, he's not backing down. His lawyers are now arguing that the dismissal was unprecedented, dangerous, and creates a categorical rule that rap diss tracks can never be considered defamation, no matter how damaging or direct the accusations are. And yo, it gets worse from here. Drake's legal brief isn't just asking for a second chance, it's claiming that Kendrick Lamar's Grammy-winning diss track stated as an unambiguous matter of fact that Drake is a pedophile, not metaphorically, not hyperbolically, but as fact. The documents argue that the phrase "certified pedophile" combined with the song's viral music video, its ubiquitous cover art, and Universal Music Group's relentless marketing campaign created a false statement that's capable of being proven true or false. Drake's team is saying this should have gone to trial, that a jury should decide whether the average listener believed Kendrick was making a factual accusation or just trash talking. They're also hitting UMG hard, claiming the label, Drake's own label by the way, knew these were false accusations but promoted the song anyway because it was making them millions. Within hours of the filing, hip-hop lawyers, industry insiders, and fans started dissecting every page. Social media exploded with debates about free speech, cancel culture, and whether Drake just made the biggest mistake of his career by appealing. As of right now, Drake's appeal is officially in motion. UMG has until March 27, 2026 to file their response brief, and trust me, it's going to be brutal. The Second Circuit Court will then decide whether to overturn Judge Vargas's dismissal and send the case back to trial, or uphold the ruling and end Drake's legal fight for good. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar is out here celebrating his 5 Grammy wins for "Not Like Us", including Record of the Year and Song of the Year, and preparing for more tour dates. The contrast couldn't be more stark. Kendrick's basking in his cultural victory, while Drake's drowning in legal paperwork trying to prove he was defamed. And the hip-hop community? They're watching this unfold in real time, divided down the middle on whether Drake's a visionary fighting for artist protection or a sore loser who can't take an L. Alright, let's break down the exact receipts Drake's legal team is presenting, because this is where it gets absolutely wild. The centerpiece of the entire appeal is the lyric, "Certified lover boy, certified pedophile." Drake's lawyers argued this isn't hyperbole, it's a direct factual accusation. They point to the repetition throughout the song. Kendrick says "certified pedophile" multiple times, reinforces it with lines like "trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor," and opens with "I hear you like 'em young." The legal brief claims these aren't metaphorical battle raps, they're calculated statements designed to make listeners believe Drake has committed or is committing crimes against children. And here's the smoking gun Drake's team is pushing. They argue the song's context matters. Unlike other diss tracks with exaggerated insults, "Not Like Us" was released alongside a music video that went mega viral, over 200 million views, showing a family-friendly party with kids playing, directly contrasting Drake's alleged behavior. The cover art features Drake's Toronto mansion marked with Fender registry pins. Drake's lawyers say this visual storytelling combined with the lyrics creates a false statement of fact, not protected artistic opinion. They're also citing Universal Music Group's massive promotional push, Spotify playlists, radio play, even allegations that Siri was manipulated to play Not Like Us when users asked for certified Loverboy tracks. Every piece of evidence is designed to show this wasn't just beef, it was a coordinated campaign to destroy Drake's reputation using false criminal allegations. Now let's layer in the additional evidence that's making this case so explosive. First, there's the timeline. Drake's team reconstructed the entire beef. It started when Kendrick dropped Like That in March 2024. Drake responded with push-ups on April 19th. Then Drake released Family Matters on May 3rd, accusing Kendrick of domestic violence. Hours later, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams and then Not Like Us back-to-back. Drake's lawyers argued the speed and severity of Kendrick's response, combined with UMG's immediate promotion, shows intent to cause maximum reputational harm. Second, there's third-party confirmation. Legal experts and media outlets repeatedly refer to the accusations as Drake being called a pedophile, not Drake being insulted in a rap battle. The legal brief includes screenshots and quotes from Complex, TMZ, Rolling Stone, and Billboard, all framing it as a serious accusation, which Drake's team says proves the public interpreted it as fact. Third, there's the Grammy angle. Not Like Us won 5 Grammys in February 2025, including Record of the Year. Drake's lawyers argue this institutional validation legitimized the false accusations, making millions more people believe them. Fourth, Kendrick performed the song at the Super Bowl halftime show in February 2025 in front of 120 million viewers. Though he skipped the certified pedophile line, he performed other lines accusing Drake of predatory behavior. Drake's team says this mainstream exposure turned a rap beef into a cultural verdict against him, guilty without trial. But here's the receipt that changes everything, the one Drake's lawyers are betting the entire appeal on. They claim Judge Vargas acknowledged in her dismissal that the phrase certified pedophile could be proven true or false. In her October 2025 ruling, she wrote that the allegation carries a precise and readily understood meaning. Drake's team is saying, exactly, so why did you dismiss it? They're arguing the judge contradicted herself by admitting the statement is factual in nature, then ruling it's non-actionable opinion because it's part of a rap diss track. This contradiction is the foundation of the entire appeal. If the judge admitted the accusation is verifiable, Drake's lawyers argue, then it must go to trial for a jury to decide whether it's true or false. That's defamation law 101. The smoking gun isn't just what Kendrick said, it's what the judge said. And that's why Drake thinks he can win this appeal. The court's own words might be the key to overturning the dismissal. You see what I'm saying here? This is exactly why Drake filed this appeal. He's banking on the appeals court saying, wait, if it's verifiable, why was it dismissed? And if that happens, we're heading to trial, and this whole thing is about to get a million times messier. Now let's talk about how the culture is responding to this, because the reactions are absolutely insane. So far, most major celebrities have stayed publicly silent, and that silence is loud. You've got Drake's OVO crew, Party Next Door, Majid Jordan, radio silent on social media about the appeal. No public support, no statements, nothing. On Kendrick's side, also mostly quiet, but there's a confidence in that silence. Kendrick hasn't addressed the lawsuit directly once since it was filed over a year ago. His team's strategy is clear: let the music and the Grammys speak. But there have been some notable voices. Joe Budden on his podcast said he understands Drake's frustration with artists he's helped turning on him, but also called the lawsuit sad and said Drake looks like he can't take an L. Academics, one of Drake's most vocal supporters, has been going off on his streams, arguing Drake is being villainized for defending himself, and that if someone called you a pedophile to millions of people, you'd sue too. Charlamagne the God said on The Breakfast Club that Drake should have just let it go, and that appealing makes him look even more hurt. The Shade Room's comment sections are divided, half saying Drake's protecting his legacy, half saying he's destroying it. On Twitter, X, it's an absolute war zone right now. Hashtag Drake Appeal and hashtag Not Like Us have been trending for 2 straight days. Fans are split into Team Drake and Team Kendrick camps harder than ever. One viral tweet said, Drake really spent more time in court than in the studio. That got 450,000 likes. Another said, if someone called you a PDF file, you'd sue too, stop playing. Kendrick stans are flooding every post with cry about it and owl emojis. Drake fans are sharing legal breakdowns trying to prove he has a case. Hip-hop subreddit r/hiphopheads is having daily mega threads dissecting the appeal documents. TikTok lawyers are making explainer videos that are getting millions of views. It's not just hip-hop drama anymore, it's a full cultural debate about art, speech, and accountability. Every major outlet is covering this. Rolling Stone, Billboard, Complex, Variety, even mainstream news like CNN and BBC. Legal analysts are calling it unprecedented and saying it could redefine how courts treat artistic expression in rap. Music industry insiders are terrified about what this means for creative freedom. If Drake wins, does that mean every diss track now needs a legal disclaimer? Are labels going to start refusing to release battle raps out of fear of lawsuits? There's also the business angle. Drake is suing his own label, Universal Music Group. Industry executives are reportedly saying this could damage Drake's relationship with UMG permanently, potentially affecting future contract negotiations or support for his releases. His reputation with collaborators is also at stake. Artists don't want to work with someone who might sue their label. But here's what people aren't talking about enough. Drake's legal bills have to be astronomical at this point. We're talking millions in attorney fees for a case he already lost once. There's also speculation that this appeal is a delay tactic. Maybe Drake's hoping to pressure UMG into a private settlement just to make this go away. Some lawyers on Twitter are saying the appeal has less than a 20% chance of succeeding, meaning Drake's spending millions on a long shot. And wildcard, if this goes to trial and Drake loses again, it could actually make the accusation seem more credible to the public. The Streisand effect is real. By keeping this in headlines, Drake's ensuring everyone remembers Kendrick called him that. Drop in the comments, who do you believe here? Is Drake fighting for justice or digging his own grave? Let's rewind and connect all the dots because this beef has layers most people are missing. Here's the full chronological breakdown. It really started heating up in March 2024 when Kendrick Lamar appeared on Future and Metro Boomin's Like That, directly calling out Drake and J. Cole with the line, "Fuck the big three, it's just big me." J. Cole responded first with 7-Minute Drill on April 5th, but then publicly apologized and pulled the track within days. Drake, however, came hard. On April 13th, Push-Ups leaked, Drake mocking Kendrick's height, his deals, calling him a little guy. He officially released it April 19th. Then came Tailor-Made Freestyle using AI-generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, which got pulled after legal threats from Tupac's estate. May 3rd, 2024, Drake drops Family Matters, a 6-minute track accusing Kendrick of domestic abuse against his fiancée, Whitney Alford, and infidelity. 14 hours later, Kendrick releases Meet the Grams, a haunting track addressing Drake's alleged secret daughter. Then, literally minutes after, Not Like Us drops, the song that changes everything, calling Drake a pedophile over a bouncy West Coast beat that immediately goes viral. By May 5th, Not Like Us is dominating streaming and social media. Fast forward to February 2025, Kendrick performs it at the Super Bowl and sweeps the Grammys. Now, January 2026, Drake's still fighting it in court. Now this is where it gets interesting. There's history here most casual fans don't know. Drake and Kendrick were once collaborators and mutual supporters. They worked together on Poetic Justice in 2012, and Drake praised Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City album. But tension started building around 2013, when Kendrick propped his Control verse, calling out Drake and other rappers, claiming he was the king. Drake responded coolly in interviews, but insiders say he felt disrespected. Over the years, subliminal shots were traded. Kendrick's The Heart Part 4, Drake's The Language, back and forth. The business connection is key though. Both artists are signed to Universal Music Group, Drake through Republic Records and Kendrick through Interscope or Aftermath. That's why Drake sued UMG instead of Kendrick directly. He's arguing the label chose to promote Kendrick's defamatory track for profit, knowing it would harm their other star artist. It's a corporate betrayal narrative that makes this way more complex than just rapper versus rapper. Let's talk dollars, because that's what this is really about. Not Like Us has generated hundreds of millions in revenue, streaming, YouTube, licensing, Grammy performance fees, Super Bowl exposure. UMG made a fortune off that song. Meanwhile, Drake's reputation has allegedly been damaged to the point where it could affect his future earnings. Endorsement deals, streaming numbers, tour attendance, brand partnerships. If parents believe the accusations, they won't let their kids listen to Drake. That's lost revenue. There's also potential legal exposure. If Drake wins this lawsuit, UMG could owe him massive damages, tens or even hundreds of millions. But if he loses the appeal, he's out millions in legal fees with nothing to show for it. Contracts are also at stake. Drake's deal with UMG is reportedly up for renegotiation soon, and this lawsuit complicates everything. Will UMG offer him another massive deal after he sued them? Doubt it. On a human level, this has to be taking a toll. Drake's entire public persona is built on being unbothered, successful, and beloved. Started from the bottom, the underdog who won. But this lawsuit shows he's deeply bothered. The accusation of pedophilia isn't just career damaging, it's life-ruining. Even if it's false, the stain remains. You can see it affecting him. He's been less active on social media, his music output slowed down, and he's spending enormous amounts of time and money on legal battles instead of creating. For Kendrick, there's also pressure. He's being celebrated culturally, but legally he's in the crosshairs. If Drake somehow wins, Kendrick's legacy gets complicated. These are two of the greatest rappers of this generation, and instead of making music, they're fighting in courtrooms. It's honestly sad when you think about it, man. This is what ego and pride can do. Turn art into litigation, turn peers into enemies. Connect the dots with me here. This beef stopped being about music the moment lawyers got involved.
Look, if you're Team Drake, the argument is solid. If someone publicly called you a pedophile to millions of people, you'd absolutely defend yourself legally. Drake supporters argue that rap battles have always had boundaries. You can talk about someone's skills, their money, their personal life, but accusing someone of crimes, specifically crimes against children, crosses a line. They point out that if Kendrick had called Drake a murderer or a rapist, people would understand the lawsuit. Why is pedophilia different? Drake's team argues this isn't about stifling artistic freedom, it's about false statements of fact that destroy reputations and could even endanger Drake physically. If fans actually believe he's a predator, that's a safety risk. The legal argument makes sense too. If the statement is verifiable, as the judge admitted, it should go to trial. Juries exist for exactly this reason, to decide if a reasonable person would interpret Kendrick's lyrics as fact or opinion. Drake's not trying to censor hip-hop, he's trying to protect his name from criminal allegations. On the flip side, Team Kendrick argues Drake started this beef, threw accusations of domestic violence at Kendrick, and now can't handle the response. They say diss tracks are supposed to be harsh, exaggerated, and cutting. Calling someone a pedophile in a rap battle is hyperbolic trash talk, not a factual claim. If Drake wins, it sets a precedent that could destroy battle rap culture. Every artist would be terrified to release diss tracks, labels wouldn't touch them, and hip-hop's competitive spirit, the very foundation of the genre, would die. Team Kendrick also points out that Drake's actions have raised eyebrows over the years. His relationship with Millie Bobby Brown, texting underage Billie Eilish, bringing a 17-year-old on stage and kissing her. Kendrick supporters say he's holding Drake accountable, not defaming him. From a purely legal standpoint, defamation requires proving the statement is false, was stated as fact, not opinion, caused harm, and was made with negligence or malice. Judge Vargas ruled Kendrick's lyrics were opinion in the context of a rap battle. Drake's appeal argues the context doesn't matter if the statement itself is verifiable. Legal experts are genuinely split. Some say the First Amendment protects artistic expression, others say defamation law doesn't have a rap battle exception. The truth is, the appeals court could go either way, but historically, courts lean toward protecting speech unless there's clear, intentional, false defamation. Drake's uphill battle is proving certified pedophile was meant to be taken as literal fact, not hyperbolic insult. But given the song's context, the judge's initial ruling is likely to stand. But let's be real about why this matters beyond gossip. This case is happening at a time when cancel culture, online accusations, and reputation destruction are at an all-time high. False allegations of serious crimes can end careers overnight, even without proof. On the other hand, powerful people often use lawsuits to silence criticism. Hip-hop has always been about raw, unfiltered expression. From NWA to Eminem to 50 Cent, diss tracks have included wild accusations. If Drake wins, it fundamentally changes what rappers can say. If he loses, it reinforces that art, even harsh, uncomfortable art, is protected. This lawsuit is a cultural inflection point, and in my opinion, the judge got it right the first time. This is a rap battle, not a courtroom testimony. Drake's appeal feels like someone who lost on the mic trying to win in court, and that's just not how hip-hop works. So, what happens in the next few days and weeks? UMG's legal team is definitely working overtime right now preparing their response brief, which is due March 27, 2026. Expect it to be brutal. They'll likely argue Drake's appeal has no legal merit, cite dozens of precedent-setting cases about artistic expression and First Amendment protections, and emphasize that no reasonable person would interpret a rap diss track as factual reporting. They might also go after Drake personally, pointing out he provoked the beef and threw his own serious accusations at Kendrick. I also expect more legal analysts and hip-hop commentators to weigh in publicly, potentially influencing public opinion, and maybe even the judges. They're human too. Drake will probably stay quiet publicly, letting his lawyers do the talking, while Kendrick continues focusing on music and his victory lap from the Grammys and Super Bowl. In terms of short-term impact, this appeal is keeping Drake in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Every article, every social media post, every YouTube video, like this one, is reminding people about the accusations, which is the opposite of what you'd want if you're trying to clear your name. Kendrick's cultural capital, meanwhile, keeps growing. He's seen as the guy who won the beef on the mic and in the court of public opinion. Industry relations are also shifting. Artists are watching this closely, wondering if collaborating with Drake could mean getting dragged into legal drama. Labels are getting nervous about promoting diss tracks at all. Long-term, if the appeals court upholds the dismissal, which is likely, Drake's legacy takes a hit. He'll be remembered as the rapper who lost a beef so badly he tried to sue his way out of it. If he somehow wins and this goes to trial, it sets a precedent that could genuinely change hip-hop forever. Diss tracks would become legally risky, labels would require disclaimers, and the entire battle rap culture could be sanitized out of existence. Neither outcome is great for Drake. But here are the wild cards. What if UMG offers Drake a private settlement just to make this go away? That's possible. They might offer him a huge bag, a public statement, and quietly bury the case. Another wild card. What if other artists Drake is beefed with, Pusha T, Meek Mill, even Kanye, use this as an opportunity to pile on with their own statements or music? And the biggest wild card? What if more information comes out during the legal process that makes either Drake or Kendrick look worse? Discovery in a trial could expose everything. What do you think happens next? Drop your predictions in the comments. Alright, here's what nobody is saying, but everyone's thinking. Drake lost this battle the moment Not Like Us dropped. Not legally, culturally. Kendrick Lamar created an undeniable anthem that the world embraced. 5 Grammys, Super Bowl halftime show, hundreds of millions of streams. You can't lawyer your way out of a cultural loss. The uncomfortable truth mainstream media won't say is that Drake's lawsuit makes him look worse, not better. It reinforces the narrative that he's hurt, defensive, and unable to just take the L and move on. Even if he wins this appeal, the damage is done. The Streisand effect is real. By keeping this in court, he's making sure the accusations never go away. Look, I'm gonna give you my real take here, and come at me in the comments if you disagree. Legally, Drake might have a point. Certified pedophile is a serious accusation, but culturally and artistically, Kendrick was within the bounds of a rap battle. Drake threw the first punches, accused Kendrick of domestic violence, made it personal. You can't start a war and then cry foul when the other side hits harder. What bothers me most is that Drake is suing his own label instead of Kendrick directly, which feels like a calculated move to avoid looking like he's directly beefing with Kendrick while still trying to punish him financially. It's corporate warfare disguised as defamation law, and honestly, it's weak. If you're gonna sue the person who said it, not the company that distributed it. That's my issue with Drake's strategy. It feels cowardly. This case reveals so much about celebrity culture, ego, and the cost of losing publicly in the social media age. Drake's built a career on being untouchable, the guy who always wins, but Kendrick exposed vulnerability and Drake can't stand it. This lawsuit is less about justice and more about ego protection. It also shows how the music industry is changing. Artists are increasingly using lawsuits as competitive weapons, and that's a dangerous trend that could kill the creative, competitive spirit that made hip-hop great. For real, man, I want Drake to make music again, not legal briefs. I want Kendrick and Drake to drop albums in response to each other, not court documents. This whole thing just feels sad. Two of the greatest rappers of this generation are wasting time, money, and energy on litigation instead of creating. Maybe I'm too idealistic, but I hope they both eventually realize this isn't worth it. Drop a classic album, Drake. Prove Kendrick wrong with music, not lawyers. That's the only way you win this. Thanks for watching Celeb Sphere.
If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found.